next subject, which is dredging. And actually, this particular topic is what brought SoutholdVoice into being 12 years ago. And I think we've come a long way. So Glenn, would you tell us where we're at?
Sure. There's a list up front on the table for the dredge history of Southold Town for the last 5 years. So what creeks were done and when. If you notice from the list, 2018 was a very productive year. That was in part because 2017 wasn't. 2017, the county just got a new dredge that had a lot of problems. Subsequently, they actually turned it back in because it was a lemon and got a new one. And they've also recently added a mechanical aspect to it to complement the dredge. So they added more capacity to do the dredging. So you can see 2018 there was a very productive year as far as dredging. There was also, with the help from Congressman Zeldin, we had some work done in an emergency window during June. So we got some extra creeks done during that time period. Most recently, we just got West Creek done this past June, utilizing that mechanical dredge. So where that one will be appropriate, we can add capacity to the overall list. So for this year, for 2019, 2020, the dredge priority list includes Cedar Creek, Bud's Pond, Corey Creek, West Creek, Jockey Creek Spur, Little Creek, and Schoolhouse Creek. So roughly about 7 a year is the normal number of creeks that can get done, depending on weather, depending on breakdowns, depending on a bunch of different factors. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. Just looking forward, that's what we have to do. And with any, currently the window goes from October 1st to January 1st. It used to go to January 15th, but with the new permitting process, federal agencies have pushed that back to the January 1st window. So with Legislator Krupski in his office, as well as working with Congressman Zeldin's office, the towns, the county have been pushing back to those federal agencies to try to get that 2-week window pushed forward. So if we lost it on the back end, can we get it on the front end? We're close to getting that accomplished, which will help out a lot. It's a lot easier to dredge in September than it is middle of January. So I'm sure the guys in the dredge crew would appreciate that. But unfortunately, it doesn't come without hurdles as well. With that earlier window, there's more regulatory hoops that we have to jump through as far as monitoring red knot, which before I became a trustee, I had to Google what a red knot was because I had no idea. So now with the new permit process, the town and the county has to monitor for a red knot prior to and during any dredging. So somebody literally has to sit there and make sure that this bird is not there. This bird, by the way, migrates from South America up to Canada and back every year. So I think if it's smart enough to do that, it's smart enough to avoid a dredge, but that's just me. So we're looking forward to getting as much accomplished as we can. So if anybody sees any creeks or anything that have any concerns, please reach out to the trustee's office, and I'll try to include that on the list. And from the town perspective, we provide the county with our priority list. The county is the ones who are responsible for doing the dredging, for maintaining the permits, and they're limited with what they can actually dredge. They're only allowed to dredge sand. The second they hit silt, they have to stop. So further up the creeks and everything like that, they're not allowed to do. It's primarily hazards to navigation and sand only. Yes, sir.
So for a few of these sessions over the years, I've brought up dry ass basin. It's essentially been killed off. And I guess the thinking has been that it's only the voters that want to get through, but that was listed. I remember reading it about 10 years ago. Top 5 natural habitats in New York State. That list is way down the list because the oxygen is depleted from it. And since Cedar Beach Inlet is going to be dredged again, it seems to me that that's a small area to open. Obviously, depending on whether it's sand or silt, it's probably silt now because both shores are caving in from the basin, and it seems to me it's an easy fix just to add that on, even if homeowners have to personally, you know, be burdened with some of the financial load. But I mean, we're killing off a basin. And no one seems to respond to it.
And I agree. As I mentioned before, the county's mandate is hazards of navigation. Environmental, which is important to all of us, is not part of that mandate so much. It's a secondary to the hazard, to public safety. So they're confined with where they can dredge based on Army Corps, based on DEC. There's a permitted dredge area, dredge window, and they're not allowed to go outside of that, and they're not allowed to get sediment that's not sand as part of that permit. There's private dredging available for certain areas if there was a history of dredging, if you can get community involved. And obviously dredging, more water flow is better for the environment, better for the creeks, better for everything. So the more water flowing into them, the better. But from a county perspective, I don't think you're going to see that. That's going to have to be more from a local community aspect to tackle those areas.
So Glenn, let me add, is there a threshold for what's considered hazard to navigation? Like how many vessels have to
Well,
be involved?
not necessarily. It's got to be a public channel. Hazards to navigation can be anything from shoaling to water depth. For instance, Gull Pond was done last year, where at low tide in certain areas it was 3-foot depth at low water. So with some of the size of the boats going in there, that does pose a hazard to navigation and public safety. Because if a boat ran aground or hit bottom, you know, they can spill diesel and whatnot into the waterway. So it's pretty much based on water depth primarily.
So at Dry Edge Basin, we go down to 1.5 feet below water level, and there are boats in there in the basin. Matter of fact, the town makes money on the, permitting of the moorings. Who gets my age, forget word. And seems to me that we're going to lose the income from the moorings, but I mean, from my perspective, we've lost basically wildlife, shellfish, because the mussels have been depleted. You can't get oysters. I mean, I used to have permits to grow oysters in there. It's not the same. You used to get 1,000 to 2,000, and now we're down to 0. And we've lost our grasses on the shore, and it's just caving in. It's moving right across.
So maybe that can be looked at.
Yeah, we'd be happy to take a look at it. One of the problems with dredging silt is where do you put the spoils? The sand is very easy because you can do beach renourishment. But where do you put the silt from Dry Edge Basin or from anywhere? You need an approved upland disposal location, which there are not many, if at all.
Well, we have silt all the way up the land going out the inlet and all the way around.
Yeah,
So you're going to spoil it actually by moving sand.
Yeah,
up
and
onto
it's
the
not
silt.
just specific to Dry Edge Basin. Almost every creek in Southold town is silted in, and it is becoming a problem environmentally, navigation-wise. But again, from the county perspective, in the mandate from the Army Corps is that hazard to navigation for the channel inlet. Further up the creeks, we're up the creek.
All right.
So then the question is, do we bring certiorari proceedings and, for tax purposes, and saying that we don't have the waterways we had, we don't have access, we're losing water views, we're losing, land is building up to some degree, so therefore the values have,
I think it's worth opening the conversation and see where it goes, right?
well,
And I saw Legislator Karski write something down.
Well, Glenn, this is the 3rd year in a row that I brought it up, and it's going nowhere.
All right, we'll put it on the list. And I want to thank Al for, and his organization for what they've been doing. They've been actively and consciously dealing with getting the dredging done with all the obstacles and all the agencies that, have what to say. So again, we need to thank him for taking
town's an important one, and they've been a very good partner to work with.
Thank you.